I stood at the entrance of my study, quietly watching my daughter-in-law, Jennifer, going through the filing cabinet as if the room belonged to her. She didn't even notice me at first. She was too busy pulling out folders one after another and taking photos of the papers with her phone. "Trying to find something?" I said. She jumped a little and held a folder close to her chest. "Oh, Robert, you scared me. I was just... Your son asked me to look for the insurance papers for the estate." "The funeral was 4 days ago, Jennifer." I know. She put the folder back and straightened her blazer. "But these things don't happen instantly, and David thought it would be better to start early. You get that, right?" I understood very well. I had buried my wife, Patricia, 6 days ago in Vancouver, and already my son and his wife were moving in like vultures. Patricia and I had been married for 43 years. 43 years of building a life together in our Kitsilano home, raising David, and watching the neighborhood slowly change around us. The house we bought for $85,000 in 1982 was now worth almost $3 million, and everyone knew it. "The insurance documents are with the lawyer," I said. "You didn't need to search through my things." "Right. Of course." Jennifer moved past me toward the door. "I'll just tell David." After she left, I sat down at Patricia's desk. This had always been her place. She handled the finances here, planned our vacations, and kept everything in order. I could still smell her perfume in the chair. The grief came in waves. Sometimes I would forget for a second that she was gone, and then it would hit me again, heavy and sudden. My phone buzzed. A message from David. "Dad, we need to talk. Coming over tonight with Jen. Important." I already knew what this was about. It had started at the reception after the funeral. I had overheard Jennifer quietly talking to David about timing and the housing market. Then, David had casually mentioned that his firm was looking at investment properties, and how interesting it would be if something became available in Kits. That evening, they arrived carrying a folder of their own. David gave me a quick, awkward hug. They sat on the couch while I went to make tea. Patricia had always made the tea. Without thinking, I almost took out 4 cups before I realized. "Dad," David started, "we want to talk about your future." "My future? You're 68. Living alone in a 3-story house with stairs everywhere. It's not easy to manage." "I manage just fine." "Dad, be honest," Jennifer said, leaning forward. "This house is too much for one person. The maintenance alone is a lot. When did you last clean the gutters or change the furnace filter? And what about clearing snow in winter?" "I've taken care of this house for more than 40 years with your mother." David spoke more softly. "But she's not here anymore." The words stayed in the air. Not here anymore. As if she had just stepped out and might come back. "We've been looking into retirement communities," Jennifer continued, pulling out brochures. They showed smiling older people playing games, doing yoga, and eating together in bright dining rooms. "There's a really nice place in Burnaby. Full service, activities, medical staff. You'd have people your own age around you. No stress about property. No loneliness." "I'm not lonely. I have neighbors. The community center." "Dad," David said, his voice sharper now, like when he was a teenager and thought he knew everything. "We're trying to help you. This house is worth almost $3 million. You're sitting on that kind of money while living like... Well, it's not necessary. You could sell, move somewhere easier, and actually enjoy your life." "I am enjoying my life." "Are you?" Jennifer asked. "Or are you just holding on to a house full of memories?" I wanted to tell them that those memories were exactly what kept me going. That Patricia's garden still bloomed every spring. That our bedroom still smelled like her lavender sachets. That every room in this house still held a part of her. But they wouldn't understand. They never had. "I'm not selling," I said. David and Jennifer looked at each other. "We're not asking you to decide right now," David said. "Just think about it carefully. Because, Dad, at some point we're going to have to talk seriously about your ability to manage things on your own." You mean whether I can make my own decisions? That's not what I meant. It sounds exactly like that. They didn't stay long after that. The tension filled the room. I watched from the window as they sat in their car for almost 10 minutes, clearly arguing. Jennifer was moving her hands sharply. David rubbed his forehead again and again. I went back to Patricia's desk and opened the bottom drawer. The one with the hidden compartment she had added 5 years ago. Inside was a large envelope with my name written in her handwriting. She had shown it to me 2 weeks before she passed. "When they start circling," she had said, her voice weak but her eyes clear. "Remember that I saw them for who they are. I always have." Inside were several documents. A property deed for a place in Tofino on Vancouver Island. A letter from Patricia explaining everything. Bank statements showing small but steady transfers over 15 years, slowly growing into something significant. And a will, properly signed and notarized, that replaced the one David knew about. Patricia had bought the Tofino property back in 2009, during the recession when prices were low. It was a small oceanfront lot with an old cottage that needed work. Over the years, she quietly fixed it up using money from her inheritance when her parents passed away. Money that never went through our shared accounts, so David never knew about it. She had created something beautiful. A 2-bedroom cedar cottage with large windows facing the Pacific Ocean. A wide deck that wrapped around the house. A small workshop at the side. In her letter, she wrote, "I saw how they looked at this house after your retirement party. I saw Jennifer measuring spaces in her mind while pretending to admire the details. I saw how David started talking about downsizing like it was his own idea. They don't see you, Robert. They see value. They don't see us. They see property. So I made a way out for you. A place they don't know about. Somewhere you can go and breathe after I'm gone. The cottage is yours. This house is also yours. Don't let them push you into anything. But if the pressure becomes too much, you have somewhere else to go. You've always loved Tofino. Remember our weekends there. I want you to have peace. And when the time comes, leave this house to Daniel. He is the only one who has ever looked at you as a person, not as something to inherit. Daniel, my nephew, my younger brother Michael's son, 24 years old, studying environmental science at UBC. He had been at the funeral, quiet and respectful, helping serve food while David and Jennifer spent time with Patricia's wealthy relatives. Daniel had Patricia's old gardening books. She had given them to him when he showed interest in growing food in the city. He actually read them, actually used what he learned in a community garden project he was leading. Over the next 2 weeks, David and Jennifer started visiting more often. They showed up without calling, saying they were just checking on me. But I would catch Jennifer taking photos of rooms and David measuring spaces with his phone. They brought more brochures, more facts about seniors living alone, more concern that didn't feel real. "We spoke to a realtor," David said one evening. "Just basic discussion. The market is strong right now. We could get maybe 3.2 million, maybe more if we stage it properly." "We?" I asked. "I mean, you could get that much." "I haven't agreed to sell." "Dad, you're not thinking clearly. Grief affects people. It makes decisions harder. That's why professionals exist, to help make logical choices during emotional times." "I am thinking clearly." "Are you?" Jennifer said, opening her tablet. "Because we've noticed a few things. You forgot to pay the gas bill last month. There was expired food in the fridge. You wore the same shirt for 3 days last week." "I was grieving." "Or maybe you're declining," David said. "Dad, we care about you. We want what's best for you. And what's best is a safe place where things are managed for you. Where you don't have to worry about responsibilities anymore. Where everything is taken care of. And where you can finally access that $3 million, Jennifer added quietly, almost as if it slipped out. The room went silent. I looked at both of them. Really looked this time. And for the first time, I stopped seeing my son and started seeing exactly what Patricia had warned me about. The words came out a bit sharper than I meant, but they were still true. David's face turned red almost instantly. That's not fair, is it? You've been coming here every other day since your mother passed away, and not even once have you really asked how I am doing. Not truly. You ask about bills, repairs, property taxes, but you don't ask about me because you refuse to be honest about your own struggles. Jennifer stood up quickly. You keep acting like everything is okay when it clearly is not. This house is falling apart. This house is not falling apart. The back fence is rotting, she said. The deck needs to be restained. The roof has moss growing all over it. These are just facts, Robert. These are small maintenance issues that I can manage. Can you? Can you honestly? David stood up too, and suddenly I felt surrounded. At your age, with your health, Mom used to handle everything. And now she's gone. You need help whether you want to admit it or not. I thought about Patricia's letter, about Tofino, about the fact that I still hadn't told them because a part of me kept hoping they would prove her wrong, that they would show real concern, real love, instead of this careful plan to separate me from my home. I need you to leave, I said softly. Dad, now please. They left, but Jennifer stopped at the door. We are filing for a competency evaluation. We have already spoken to a lawyer. You are not capable of handling your own affairs, and someone needs to step in before you hurt yourself or lose everything Mom worked for. After they were gone, I sat in the dark living room for a long time. Patricia's reading chair was still turned toward the window, her bookmark still resting in the novel she would never finish. 43 years. 43 years of building a life together, and it had taken David less than a week to try to pull it all apart. I called my lawyer the next morning. Margaret Chen had been handling our estate planning for 20 years. She had attended the funeral, had held my hand, and told me to call when I was ready. I'm ready now, I told her. In her office, she carefully laid out Patricia's documents. Your wife was very thorough, she said. She updated this will 3 months before she passed away. Everything is secure. The Tofino property is entirely in your name. Patricia used her inheritance to buy it, so it is separate from marital assets. David has no claim over it. Can he really try to file for a competency evaluation? He can attempt it, but you would need to be assessed by professionals. And honestly, Robert, you are one of the most capable 70-year-olds I know. You are grieving, not incompetent. There is a difference. He found out about my missed gas bill. Did you pay it once you realized? The next day. Then you are managing your affairs. One missed bill during deep grief does not show incompetence. It shows you are human. She took out another document. Patricia also left instructions regarding the Kitsilano house. Her suggestion, and it is only a suggestion, the final choice is yours, is that you leave it to your nephew Daniel when the time comes. She felt he would value it for the right reasons. She actually wrote that. She wrote that Daniel sees houses as homes, not as investments. She believed that mattered. I thought about Daniel planting tomatoes in the community garden, teaching children about composting, and then I thought about David calculating square footage and market value. What do I need to do now? Margaret explained everything step by step. The Tofino Cottage was ready. Patricia had even arranged a property manager to maintain it while it remained empty. I could move there immediately if I wanted to. The Kitsilano house could be rented out and managed professionally, bringing in steady income. Or I could keep it, visit whenever I wished, maintain it for as long as I wanted, or I could sell it myself on my own timeline and keep all the money. The point, Margaret said, is that you have choices. Patricia made sure of that. She did not want you to feel stuck. I drove to Tofino that weekend without telling anyone. The 6-hour drive gave me time to think, to process everything, to remember. Patricia and I had celebrated our anniversary there 3 different times. The last time was 5 years ago, before her diagnosis. We had walked along the beach at sunset, collected pieces of sea glass, and talked about retiring there someday. The cottage was exactly as Patricia had described it. The cedar shingles had aged to a soft silver color. Large windows opened up to the ocean view. There was a stone fireplace, and built-in bookshelves already filled with our favorite books that she must have slowly moved there over the years. The small workshop behind the cottage had woodworking tools. Patricia knew I had always wanted to try woodworking, but never had the space in the city. I stood on the deck and watched the waves crash against the rocks. The air smelled of salt and cedar. A bald eagle circled high above, and for the first time since Patricia passed away, I felt something other than grief. I felt a sense of possibility. I spent the night there and slept better than I had in weeks. In the morning, I called the property manager Patricia had hired, a local woman named Sarah who had been taking care of the cottage for 2 years. "Patricia told me you might come one day," Sarah said. "She wanted everything to be ready for you." "How often did she come here?" "Every few months. She would spend a weekend, work in the garden, fill the pantry." She said it helped her feel calm, like she was creating a peaceful place. My wife had spent the last years of her life building a sanctuary for me, knowing I would need it one day. The weight of that kind of love was almost too much to carry. I drove back to Vancouver on Sunday evening. On Monday morning, David and Jennifer arrived at 7 o'clock, using the spare key I had forgotten they still had. "We need to talk," David said as he walked straight into the kitchen. "We have arranged visits to 2 senior living facilities for tomorrow. You are going to tour them and see what is available." "No, Dad, this is not a choice anymore. We have spoken to Uncle Michael, Aunt Susan, even the neighbors. Everyone agrees. You cannot continue living like this." "You are discussing me with the neighbors?" "Mrs. Patterson mentioned your lawn has not been mowed in 3 weeks. That is not like you. Patricia always handled the lawn." "I have not done it yet. I have been figuring out how the mower works." "Exactly," Jennifer said quickly. "These small things add up. Next it will be the bills again. Then maybe you will forget to turn off the stove or fall down the stairs. I am not moving to a facility." "Then where will you go?" David demanded. "You cannot stay here. You have already shown that." I looked at my son carefully, really looked at him. When did he become this person? Or had he always been like this, and Patricia and I just made excuses for him, smoothing things over, pretending his selfishness was ambition, his cold behavior was practicality? "I am moving to Tofino," I said. There was silence. "What?" "Your mother and I bought a cottage there years ago. I am going to live there." David's face changed several times. Confusion, disbelief, then calculation. "You bought property without telling me?" "It was not something I needed to tell you. I am your son. I am your financial power of attorney." "No, you are not. Your mother was. And she never named you as a replacement. Margaret Chen will handle my affairs if I ever become unable to, which I am not." "This is ridiculous," Jennifer said, pulling out her phone. "How much did this cottage cost? Where did the money come from?" Because if it came from shared assets, it came from Patricia's inheritance from her parents. "It is separate property." "It does not concern you. Everything concerns us when you are making unreasonable decisions," David said loudly. "You cannot just move to Tofino. You do not know anyone there. You will be alone. What if something happens?" "Then it happens. I am 68, not 98. I am perfectly able to live on my own." "For how long?" Jennifer asked in a cold tone. 1 year? 2? Then what? You fall and lie there for days because no one is around to check on you? I would rather fall alone in a place I chose than slowly fade away in a facility you chose for me." David ran his hands through his hair. "Fine, fine. Move to Tofino if you want, but sell this house. You do not need 2 properties, and the money from this house could pay for excellent care for many years. The money from this house is mine to use however I choose. And what about my inheritance?" The words came out of David suddenly, as if he had been holding them back the entire time. "What about everything Mom and I worked for all these years?" There it was. The truth finally revealed. Your mother and I worked to build a life together, I said quietly. We did not work to support your real estate investments. That is not what I meant, David said, trying to take his words back. But it was too late. I think it would be best if both of you leave now. Dad, just leave and hand over your spare key. Jennifer's face became stiff and cold. Fine. But don't expect us to come rushing when you need help. Don't expect us to fix things when this small fantasy of yours breaks apart. I won't. After they walked out, I sat down at Patricia's desk and cried. Not only because she was gone, but also because I felt like I had lost the son I believed I had. The son I imagined would care about me, not only about what I owned. Maybe he had never been that kind of son. Maybe I had only been seeing him through the soft filter of a father's love. That evening, I called Daniel. Uncle Robert, he sounded worried. Is everything all right? I need to ask you something. Would you ever want this house? Not right now, but maybe someday. When I'm gone. There was silence. And then he said, What? Your Aunt Patricia wanted you to have it. The Kitsilano house. She put it in her will. It will go to you, but I wanted to talk to you first and make sure you would really want it. Uncle Robert, I can't accept something like that. It's worth millions, and that is exactly why I want it to go to someone who won't just see money. Patricia believed you would value it as a home. Was she right? He paused again. I have always loved that house. When I was young and we visited, I thought it was the most beautiful place I had ever seen. The garden, the shelves built into the walls, the small window seat upstairs in the hallway. Aunt Patricia showed me how to garden in that backyard. I know, she remembered that. But what about David? He is your son. David has made his choices clear, and they don't include me unless there is something to gain. Daniel stayed quiet for a while. I'm sorry. That must be painful. It was. It really was. But hearing his honest sympathy helped more than I expected. There is one condition, I told him. You have to take care of the garden. Patricia's roses, the herb boxes, everything. Can you do that? I would be honored. Over the next month, I got ready to move. I hired movers and went through 43 years of belongings, deciding what to keep and what to leave behind for Daniel. Patricia's clothes went to charity, except for one sweater I wasn't ready to let go of. The photo albums came with me. Kitchen items were split, half for Tofino, half left for Daniel. David and Jennifer did not call at all, not even once. I saw their car pass by the house twice, slowing down to look, but they never stopped. The neighbors surprised me. Mrs. Patterson came by with casseroles and helped me pack. I never said you couldn't manage, she told me. Your son misunderstood what I said. I told him you looked sad. That is not the same as being unable to take care of yourself. The Johnsons next door offered to keep an eye on the house while it was rented. Patricia was a good neighbor, Mr. Johnson said. She would want us to help take care of it. Margaret Chen handled the paperwork, set up rental agreements, found a property manager, and arranged automatic bill payments. Everything Patricia used to manage was now organized and simple. You are going to be all right, Margaret told me during our last meeting, more than all right. Patricia made sure of that. I moved to Tofino on a Tuesday in May. Sarah had filled the fridge, placed fresh flowers on the table, and lit a fire in the fireplace. The cottage smelled of cedar, smoke, and a new beginning. That first evening, I sat on the deck with a glass of Patricia's favorite wine and watched the sunset turn the ocean into shades of orange and pink. The waves moved in a steady rhythm. An otter appeared near the rocks, floating calmly on its back. You were right, I said quietly, speaking to Patricia like I had been doing since she passed away. You saw everything clearly. You understood it all. I was learning that grief does not go away, but it can change. It can exist together with other feelings like calmness, relief, and even happiness. I missed Patricia deeply, in a way that would probably never fully disappear. But here, in the place she had chosen for me, I could miss her without feeling pressure, betrayal, or manipulation. I began working with wood in the small workshop. First, I made a simple bookshelf, then a bench, and later, more detailed projects. I joined a local group that took care of beach access areas and became friends with other retirees who had chosen Tofino because they loved its beauty, not because anyone pushed them to come here. Daniel visited once a month, bringing news about the Kitsilano house and the garden. He had moved into the basement suite with my permission and was taking excellent care of everything. He even started a neighborhood plant exchange using Patricia's garden. People really enjoy it, he told me during one visit. Mrs. Patterson brought extra tulip bulbs. The Johnsons shared bamboo plants. It has become something the whole community is part of. Patricia would have loved that.